Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We are currently in the third week of my new YouTube series that I just recently started, but already Bronte and I do have to go on a trip to go to a wedding over in Washington State, so I need to start packing all of my content stuff because, well, the vlogging does not stop just because we are on a trip. It's just kind of the life of being a vlogger. So I thought I would show you guys what I am all bringing. I don't really have like one of those fancy backpacks that most content creators bring with them that when they're showing what's in my camera bag. I just have a regular backpack, well, specifically a Twitch backpack because I'm a Twitch streamer. And if I was a person that traveled a lot more, I would probably upgrade my bag, and maybe I'll do it one of these days. So if you guys know of a nice camera bag that I should pick up, be sure to leave it in the comments below so I can start checking those out. Now, I almost forgot to say, before we get into all of this, I do want to mention that I will have a link to all of this posted down in the description below if you guys want to check it out. So the very first thing that I can't actually show you guys because I'm filming with it right now is going to be my A7S III, which I recently got about a month ago at this point, and I've been absolutely loving the camera. It is my main go-to, and I'm currently using the 16-35 f4 lens. It's awesome, it's great for vlogging, been absolutely loving it. But I also did pick up a second lens recently, which is the 24-70 f4, and both of these lenses are kind of cheaper ones, and they're not like the best, but they're nice and small and compact, which I really like for vlogging. So between the two of these lenses, I kind of have everything covered that I really need to as of now. So these have been my go-to. I've been absolutely loving them lately. Highly recommend. And now the second camera that I am packing with us for this trip is the Sony a6400, which was my go-to camera for the last couple of years on this YouTube channel. Still highly recommend it, and honestly, for like 95% of YouTubers or just content creators in general, you do not need anything more than this. This thing looks absolutely amazing, and it's super versatile, and you can use it in so many different scenarios, including vlogging, because it does have that flip-up screen. But the only annoying thing about this camera and this flip-up screen is the fact that if you use a microphone and you put it in the regular spot, it blocks the screen, which is super annoying. So they do make a cold shoe mount relocator, which I highly recommend getting for those of you who have any of the 6000 series cameras, because with this mount now you can see that I have the mic off to the side, and now you can vlog right away, and it is so much better. Highly recommend. But for those of you who are kind of more shy when it comes to vlogging, I know I was when I was first starting, and especially for people in the stream world, we just really aren't confident in our camera skills as much, especially in public. There are some smaller mics you can get, like this one. This is a Ceremonic mic, and the quality isn't the best, but it is definitely a big step up, and it just plops right into the side there, and it is super compact and discreet. I've personally used this mic in a handful of my vlogs before, and no one said anything about the audio, so yeah, it's good. As for the lenses that I'm bringing for the a6400, the first one that I always go to is the 10-18. It is a super small lens, but it is also really wide, which is awesome for vlogging. It's a stabilized lens. It pairs absolutely perfectly with the a6400. I cannot recommend this lens enough for vloggers. And then for the second lens, this one is actually a kit lens that came with my a6400. This is the 18-135, and no joke, you can just get this one lens if you have to pick one lens, and you can do so much with it. It's a little tighter for vlogging, but you can make it work, but the zoom range on it is so nice, so the fact that you can vlog and zoom in on stuff with one lens is absolutely amazing. And yes, you could technically have sharper lenses out there, but most people aren't gonna notice, especially on YouTube videos or something like that. I cannot recommend this lens enough either. And then to go with all of my lenses, I am bringing some ND filters, in which I am always using outside. For those of you who don't know what ND filters are, they're essentially like sunglasses for your camera, and the reason you want to use these is because it can keep either your shutter speed lower so you don't have weird juddery movement in your video, or you can keep the aperture nice and wide and open so you have a bit of a blurrier background. So specifically, I use the K&F filters. They're really budget, cheap ones on Amazon, but they get the job done. And I don't really use variable ND filters. There's a lot of videography people who highly recommend variable ND filters, but unless you were buying like the best of the best, which are hundreds of dollars, any of the budget variable ND filters look really, really bad in my opinion, and I always had issues with them. They had bad color shifts, they had dark areas all throughout the image. It just was not a good time, so I just throw these on. These do about 3 stops of light reduction, and they look great. So that is it for my main camera gear in terms of my handheld stuff, but I am bringing one other kind of camera, and that is going to be my drone. Now this is the DJI Mavic Air, and I absolutely love this drone, but they do have a newer version of it in which I'm a little jealous of. The sensor is a lot better, and there's a few other upgrades, but overall, absolutely highly recommend DJI products for drones. Is just such a good device. Like, no joke, there's been so many times in which I thought I was gonna crash this thing, but there are so many sensors all over this, it's kind of like baby proof. You will not crash this unless you are really trying, so I highly recommend the Air series. There is the DJI Mavic Mini series, in which is a little cheaper, but it doesn't have all of these sensors to prevent you from crashing it, and if you're gonna be spending hundreds of dollars on a drone, spend a little more and make sure you get one that has a bunch of like anti-crash features. It's gonna save you a lot of money in the long run. And yes, even for drones, I do have ND filters for the drone for the exact same reason, where it's basically sunglasses. For the camera, even though it's really, really small, they do make ND filters. So that is it for all of the actual camera gear itself, but I do want to edit the footage while I am away. So I will be bringing my laptop, and my go-to laptop right now is the MacBook Pro 13-inch with the M1 chip, and I cannot recommend this laptop enough. I don't know what Apple is doing, but their M1 chip is just absolutely phenomenal for editing video. It is so dang good. I cannot recommend this laptop enough. And I do have the absolute bottom tier version. It only has 8 gigs of RAM, and I think it has 256 gigs of storage, which is more than enough for the average person. But because I do edit video, I do need a little more storage than the 256. But it costs so much money to upgrade that storage. So I do what a lot of people do, and that is I edit all of my footage directly off of an external SSD, and this is the Samsung T7. It is so dang fast. It is faster than anyone actually really needs, unless you are a super pro and you are working with some intense files. But for the average content creator, this is absolutely perfect. This is a terabyte, and between the two of these together, absolutely amazing. And then of course, to go with that, I do have my AirPods. They're super small and compact, perfect for traveling. I love these. They're not the best sound quality ever, but the ease of use is so awesome. And now moving on to more of just the accessory stuff. Of course, we have to bring plenty of SD cards. And for the A6400, we've been using these SanDisk ones, and you can get them really cheaply off of Amazon. Now, I do recommend getting the 128 gigabyte sizes for the SD cards because we like to film in 4K, and it does eat up a lot of storage. And then for the Sony a7S III, I do have these Lexar ones, which are a bit higher quality, so I can film in higher frame rates on this camera, and I've been absolutely loving these. Again, these will be linked down in the description below. Now here's something I'm a little more hesitant to recommend, but some third-party batteries. Now, when it comes to Sony batteries for both the a6400 and the a7S III, they are expensive if you buy legit Sony batteries. They cost a lot, whereas you can buy third-party batteries for like a quarter of the price. You can usually get twice as many and a charger, and unless you know what you're doing, you can actually buy bad batteries and it can fry your camera. So if you are gonna go out and buy third-party batteries, just really do your research and don't cheap out on the absolute cheapest. Be sure to get ones that have good reviews on Amazon or something like that, where a lot of people have said their reviews, if it has worked or not for their cameras. But I personally have been using this Rav Power brand for a while, haven't had any issues. So I'm gonna have the link posted in the description below, but still, even with me recommending it, I would do your research just so you feel a little safer putting certain batteries into your expensive cameras. Now this next item I'm not like over the moon about, but it is just nice and handy to have, and that is a portable light that does have a battery that you can attach to it. And it gets bright enough. The light quality isn't the best or anything, but in a pinch when you're just out and about or just even around the house sometimes, we do use this and it gets the job done. And it does also change colors, and you can change it to whatever color you want. So it is kind of nice to just be able to throw this in the background and add a pop of color sometimes, which we have done. But unfortunately for the colored modes, I feel like they don't get that bright, and that's the only kind of downside. But overall, this thing is really, really useful. And so the next thing in which we have struggled with for the longest time is to find a nice, compact, and small handheld tripod. And we've kind of landed on this one being our favorite. This is the Manfrotto one. It's not that expensive, and it just mounts to the bottom of your camera, and you can angle it around. Nothing special, but I do see a lot of people that always still recommend the Joby Gorilla tripods, and those break down after about a year, and we've had this since we started YouTube, and it's been super reliable. It gets the job done. Okay, and now the last things that I am showing, which isn't anything special, it is just some basic cleaning stuff, and seriously, it bothers me so much to see so many, especially vloggers on YouTube, always have dirty lenses. Like, this stuff was like $5 on Amazon. Just go out and spend a little bit of money to properly have things that can clean your lenses and your sensors. And I highly recommend this blower. This is so nice to have. This is probably my favorite thing to use. And then of course, just a regular like soft cloth thing that can wipe your lenses down. And then sometimes the brush comes in handy. And I have some other things. I actually bought a kit, but these are the only 3 things that we're gonna bring for this trip. Wow, that was a lot of gear to show you guys and discuss, and this isn't even like half of the gear that we have. I think in another video, probably a month or 2 down the road, I will do a full video on all of the cameras that we use and any other gear that I didn't cover in this video. But yeah, I gotta get going and get all this stuff packed up for our trip, and we gotta leave first thing in the morning, so this is gonna be fun. Again, I'm gonna have everything linked down in the description below, and I will be sure to vlog all of my trip so I can still bring you guys along through this series, in which if you haven't started watching yet, be sure to go check it out. But yeah, with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.